It's after 11 o'clock. It's a nice-looking Thursday. Thank you for tuning in. The one dream we probably all have in common is to just have a nice place to live, right? We all want to live in a nice place, right?
Yeah.
Some of us want to own it. Mm-hmm. Not always. Some of us want to own it, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of places I might prefer to rent. I'm the kind of guy that always, I'm not satisfied ever. I always want to move somewhere else. And so in my younger days, I noticed this about myself. And I said, you know what I got to do? I just got to settle down someplace and then just travel a lot, mm-hmm. Right? The real estate journey is what we're going to talk about. That's the title of the book written by our guest, Dr. Brian P. Simon. He is a serial entrepreneur with an S. That doesn't mean he eats a lot of Cocoa Puffs. No. He's a leadership coach and adjunct professor at Regent University School of Divinity in Virginia Beach. The subtitle to the book is From Dreaming and Home Buying to Realty and Entrepreneurship. So let's find out about the book from Dr. Brian P. Simon. Good morning, Doctor. Thank you for being on the air with us today.
Good morning, Larry. It's a pure joy to talk to Florida today.
Are you in Virginia Beach right now?
Yes, I am.
How's the weather there? Yeah, you got wind today, don't you? A lot of wind or something.
Yeah, little windy. It's not cold and it's not hot.
So tell me about the book.
About a year and a half ago, as I was reflecting on my last 18 years when I jumped out of teaching and getting my doctorate and that whole journey of school, and I ended up diving into something that I didn't even need nothing but a GED or a high school diploma to get, which was real estate sales. And that real estate sales journey then led me to partner with my home building partner, Kenton McClung, with Custom Homes Virginia, and we built 180 custom homes in the last decade. And my real estate team and brokerage, we sold over $800 million in sales in the last 12 to 15 years, and it's been such a rewarding experience, but it's also been painful to watch people fail in their entrepreneurial journeys, and I've experienced setbacks and hard times through this journey, of course, as well. And so the book was something that I wanted to connect with entrepreneurs and tell them that in your journey, even though it's hard, in the chaos, that you can push through and lay out your options and continue the path of success.
So that sounds awesome, and it doesn't sound any different really from a lot of the paths that we take where we have the ups and downs. The one thing I'm wondering about is what is the wrong reason to be involved in real estate? I often wonder if, because the real estate people I know seem to really love showing houses and talking about land, and money never ever comes up. But every once in a while I meet somebody who says, I'm going to get in real estate because it's a lot of money, and I'm thinking that's got to be the wrong reason to be in it. Am I right with that?
I would say that there's a definite rightness to that. I have seen so many people, they watch an infomercial, they get all fired up, and I want to jump into real estate because I'm going to get rich quick. And that's not real, So, but what is interesting is something that was, what part of what brought me into real estate was my first broker challenged me. He was a friend from church. I wasn't in real estate hardly at all at that point. And he said, Brian, you're about to go and you've got a doctorate and you're going to move your pregnant wife to another state and you're going to teach for $40,000 a year. You sure you don't want to stay here and make over $100,000 a year? I've been doing it for 15 years. And I gave it a lot of thought. And I know that, entrepreneurship and real estate just kind of is in my blood and in my veins. I've always loved it since I was young. And so I started to help, and I started to get involved. And then within a few months, by the time I finished my doctorate, I was so in love with real estate that I went full-blown real estate, and I've done it ever since. And money is what draws a lot of people, but that money is not easy money. The money's hard money, and you got to work. I tell people you work all the time, but you don't work all the time because you're enjoying that real estate sales experience. One step at a time. So without a regular job, you have a lot more flexibility. And flexibility is what draws many people initially into the industry.
Sometimes when a person is selling their home, they have an emotional attachment to it, and sometimes they will put on a price tag that might be too high. How do you gently tell the homeowner that this really isn't going to work, that they need to come up with a different price?
Yeah, and that's so common. You know, people get, they've been in their home, raised their children, all their memories. It's taking the emotion out of it. It really comes down to what is the market value of the home. And many times that is what is the square foot of the home, the general condition of the home, compared to the other homes within that 1 to 3 mile maximum radius, typically.
And is that part of why a person might love or not love so much the career as a real estate agent or broker? Is the neighborhoods that you work with a part of that?
I think that, you know, some people become drawn to certain groups of people, whether it's their network, where they live, where they go to church, where they spend time, and they realize, wow, I could do this. I could be a real estate agent and help these guys. I love this, you know, this type of thing, and it draws people. I've seen some young ladies have their first child, and within a month they're still out selling homes to take the baby with them. You know, and they're out there making money, helping people, and it's fun.
How good have you become after doing this for so long at talking to a person and knowing instinctively what kind of a house that person would enjoy living in?
Even though personally I'm not actively selling homes myself, I have Fit Realty is our real estate brokerage, and we have about 65 or 70 real estate agents who are helping our buyers and sellers. So as I spend time with our agents, you know, and it's the same, it's me helping them as well as them helping each other, you know, to understand as you're talking. There's only so many cities, for example, in our region. There's like 7 main areas people want to live. So once you get familiar with each of those areas, the price ranges of the different neighborhoods, it's when you talk to people, it becomes very natural because you're like, oh, I have a few ideas. I know where what you're describing. There's something you've never thought about, but I've got something I want to show you. Yeah.
You speak about selling yourself. It's not really about selling the house or the product, but you have to learn to sell yourself, and that is pretty difficult.
That is so true, Robin. It's selling yourself and making the connection, because relationship, even though it is sales, it is service. You have to look at the buyer or the seller, and, you know, if you're helping a buyer to choose a home, that's a big deal. They're scared. If it's their first home in particular, it's one of the biggest investments they've made, and it's a big commitment. And a lot of people become much more afraid than, you know, what is necessary, but that's part of doing something new. And so real estate agents are there for them. A lot of times people don't realize that as a real estate agent, you also kind of become a counselor, you know. So people might go through some marriage trouble while they're stressed about their home. You better be there to encourage them, you know, and walk them through that journey in the good and bad times. You know, people many times will come to us in crisis, and we have to step up and go do above and beyond, you know, and I hope that's where real estate agents' hearts are. And not if they chase the dollar bill, the clients know it's not real, and people don't stick with you long term and send you their friends and family.
You also talk about being a good leader.
Yeah, leadership is, you know, sometimes you're only a step ahead. You know, sometimes you are a few steps ahead. But leadership, as all of us in leadership, and we all lead in different ways. And that's part of the heart of the book is, you know, in the real estate journey, as I lay out my personal journey and some of my experiences throughout the book, as well as helping people to dream and overcome dream busters, lay out smart goals, That is when you can lead your own life, then you can lead others so naturally. And leading our own lives is sometimes the hardest part.
What do you think it is that gets you excited about your profession at this point, after doing it so long? What kind of a thing will get you excited to the point where you can't wait to wake up each day just to keep moving further with it?
That is what a wonderful question. You're letting me dream a little bit, right? I think right now, I have such a wonderful group of real estate agents at Fit Realty, and I'm watching them embrace technology, and they're not just the young people. These are people of all ages. They're embracing technology that our company's providing them. And so as I see them prosper because they're using the technology to help their clients in a way we've never been able to in the past, it's that I just will be so excited to watch them prosper and have money in the bank, because I see, real estate agents, it's not easy to always have a cushion, and like I talk about in the book, as a real estate agent, one of the first things I did back, like 15, 18 or 8 years ago was put 6 months of savings aside, and that helped my wife sleep better at night. We had a little baby, he's now 13, young man, awesome dude, but at that point, putting that 6 months savings aside helped me to walk, even though things would not always go right, and I would lose some sales that I didn't expect to lose.
Well, you talk about your faith in the book and how you hold on to that, and then you say that even in the Bible, failure is part of every successful person.
It is so true, in church history, I did my master's at Regent in church history and doctrine, which is, a little bit out of the direction of my thing. But I tell you, what I learned was people who led great movements throughout all of church history, they had something in common, and that it was a complete passion and abandonment towards their goals. Applying that into the real estate business building, and then biblical, as I've been beat down, back in 2008 when my partner in the home building company and I went through that first real estate crash of 2007 and 8, 9, that was one of the hardest times that we've ever experienced. We had, like I say in my book, I had hives and his eyes were red and fuzzy, for a couple of months. And it was every time I would go to the gym, I would get hives. My stress was so high, David and these guys were warriors in the Old Testament, and they would fight and they would battle. And I would encourage myself in that reality that I'm going to get wounded. The key is, am I going to get up and keep going? Things are going to not go always good. I'm going to fail. Can I fail forward? And that's not hard. And that's why I say in the book, The Real Estate Journey, you have to lean into the chaos. And so many people freeze in fear. And you don't want to freeze in fear. You want to go with confidence as much as you can muster. And when you can't muster it, you better look in the mirror and tell yourself, remind yourself who you are, what your goals were, why you started. So we don't want to lose energy in the journey, or else our story doesn't end as well.
And you also talk about giving. But you have to give from the heart. You just can't give to receive just because.
Yeah, I really think, as we work with, and my partners, Simon Studios is a company that I started with Ethel Dela Cruz a few years ago. And as she has a branding development, brand strategy, group, and then my home building company and my real estate brokerage, when we watch our staff, the people we hire to come and help us to build the company, it's so neat to watch as people are empowered, and find that their interests in ways that they've never seen. We have one young lady now who's pursuing to be an architect because she's been helping us get home permits for a few years, for a season, and she's, I think I'm going to do something I never dreamed I would do. I'm going to go to architectural school, and she just got started a few months ago. So watching people, empowering leaders, people all have talents and gifts. How do you plug them into the right place?
The book again is called The Real Estate Journey: From Dreaming and Home Buying to Realty and Entrepreneurship. It's written by our guest, Dr. Brian P. Simon. I'm just curious, if I were in the bookstore and I saw the book laying down on display, who picks it up? Is it the guy or lady just interested in getting started in real estate, or is it also for the person who's been doing real estate for 20 years?
That's a great question, Larry. It's in the book, chapter 2 and 3, it's a little more practical. Do I buy a new home or a resale home? Do I buy a custom new home? And so it gets into some of the practicals for people who are thinking about buying a home, but also those thinking of buying their first rental property, their first investment property. But chapter 1, unless the mind can conceive and believe, it can never achieve. Chapter 2, connecting to your give a damn, and then the last chapter was for everybody, because managing finances is core to everything. Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered, so you got to make sure you pay Uncle Sam.
Sure. At the end of the book, at the back of the book, you have like a diary / workbook where you have thought-provoking, insightful questions, and making the person that's going to be in this endeavor think.
Yeah, that was something I learned back when I was in the coaching program at Regent University, and it was something that changed my life. It was a coaching program that we did for about 2 years, and there were a lot of these worksheets, and they would challenge us to write down, what are your dreams, and how do you break the dream into a goal and a SMART goal. So I wanted to use a few of those key things, because as I have used those very simple tools over the years, I've seen people do things that they just never thought they were ready to do. They would begin to lay it out and see, wait, this is more achievable. I can start this business in my garage. I can start this. I can do, I can reach back out to family that I haven't spoken with for 20 years and reconnect, because that's a goal of my heart that I want to put into this. And so it gives people some time, to think about what matters and what are we going to do to count the cost of the thing that you want to dive into. And that's also important in any entrepreneurship endeavor.
And you're encouraging people to draw upon their own personalities and their own talents. It's good to follow what somebody else has done, but it might not be your own, and you have to make it your own to succeed.
That is so true. Like I talk about in the book, The Real Estate Journey, I say, when I was in high school and growing up, I barely could pull off a C. I struggled with my colors, with my math, with my English, and it wasn't until a point in college where I connected to my give a darn. I say, my give a damn in the book. But, I connected to my why, and I began to press through step by step, and watching that coaching program, the way it's impacted everybody throughout the journey, helping them to look back and reflect, and also look forward. It's a very empowering little nuggets.
And you also talk about accepting blame. That you can't blame somebody else. You have to blame yourself.
Yeah, that isn't it, so true. It's you really can't, like, you have to be able to forgive yourself as a business person. Like I would have deserved to be fired, I say in the book, many times. So there are times, because I'm the owner, nobody can fire me. However, there are times that I deserve to be fired over this last 18 years. So how do I accept these realities, that I fail my own company by not either planning out properly or looking at each option properly? And you have to forgive yourself. You have to remind yourself that this is part of the journey. You're going to bend. You're not going to break. And I say, blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be broken. And, it's like if you're not flexible as a business owner, especially when you're getting your butt kicked, which has happened off and on through the years as the market and the government, everything changes in real estate, year over year, So it's a continual adjustment, being willing to flex, and react, in a very healthy way, and not an unhealthy way.
So do we always blame ourselves if something goes wrong, or is it ever true that it's the economy? Because there was a period of time when the economy really was affecting the real estate market.
Yeah, that was really hard for my partner, Kenton, and I with the Custom Homes of Virginia. It was hard for us and it took us a while to accept the reality that we had nothing to do with the fact that we lost everything we had made within such a short period of time. Fortunately for us, we never missed a bill. We made every payment, and we made a very quick comeback. But my goodness, the market just completely kicked our butts. And I have stories of throughout my life as I've looked, my family who owned a film studio out in Weirton, West Virginia. When Walmart started their one day photography, come in and get your stuff that day, that impacted their business. There was nothing, so that's why it's so important that you stay aware, and you can prepare. And that's what we're, as in the home building company, even now, we know that the market's not always going to be this amazing and hot, so we are preparing to be sure that if there is even a, little dips and things like that we're ready, and that we have, it's like everything is a risk. You have to decide how much of a risk you want to take at each phase, and then you have to walk that risk out.
The book again is called The Real Estate Journey. It's written by our guest, Dr. Brian P. Simon. I have a copy of the book here, so if I have a listener who would like the one that was sent to us, give me a call at 622-9622, and it's yours. The rest of us have to go buy it. I found it on Amazon, and I was wondering if you have a website you'd like to direct us to?
Yeah, that'd be great. You can visit briansimon.com if you'd like to connect and download any free ebooks I have and learn more about our companies. The best place to go anywhere in the country, and particularly Florida, you can go to Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, or your favorite retailer, and, just come out this week, so it should be everywhere available.
Very good. Let me take a phone call so I can give the book away. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
Good morning. This is Jennifer.
Hey.
I am so happy I got the book. Thank you very much.
You got it, Jennifer. Thank you. It'll be waiting for you here at the station.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
And Dr. Simon, how do you manage to balance family and career?
I would say that's a day-by-day thing. I do admit that I am a little bit of a workaholic, but I'm also a family-aholic. So I go hard, and that is with my family and with my work. My wife and children have been so supportive over the years, with good buy-in, knowing that I'm out to help our family to grow financially and to be secure long term. And so they support me. My daughter even, just being 11, even makes me little images that I put up on social media. Nobody knows whether it would be my daughter or a professional company.
Oh,
that's sweet.
I love that. You're a great dad.
We make work part of family. We make work part of family.
Oh, yeah, you're a wonderful parent. I love this.
I think the one thing we all look for in anybody we're going to do business with, and real estate is one of the biggest, is we need to trust the person. And I think you've won us over in a short little interview, Doctor. Thank you for being on the air with us today. If you're ever in Central Florida, we'd love to have you in the studio.
I would absolutely love that. And I do sometimes visit my parents out in the villages every now and then. So I might actually keep that in mind.
Well, there you go. The parents in the villages, they might be listening.
I love the villages.
Yeah.
Close.
Doctor, thank
They're
you.
wonderful. I love my trips to visit. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a true pleasure.
That was fun. All right, we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Howdy, folks. RL here for Dairy Queen Silver Springs. We want to thank Marion County for